a city where the skyline is written in neon and the ambition is measured in acreage. They call it the Big D, but for a specific group of power players, it stands for something else. Dynasty. We are tracking the women who didn't just survive the game, they rewrote the rules. From the beauty mogul who started with $86,000 and built a retail empire, to the construction titan who wears a hard hat as comfortably as a Chanel suit, to the woman who walked into the Dallas Mavericks and turned a toxic culture into a gold standard. These are the 10 richest and most powerful black women in Dallas. And the woman at number 1? She doesn't just run a business, she co-pilots a movement that influences millions of lives globally. Number 10. Mahisha Dellinger, the viral culinarian and cookie mogul. We begin our countdown with a story that proves the modern path to wealth often starts in the most traditional place, the kitchen. But don't let the domestic setting fool you. Mahisha Dellinger is a cold, calculated business operator who turned a pandemic passion project into a national retail juggernaut. Mahisha's entry into the Dallas elite wasn't through a trust fund. It was through the high-pressure world of professional sports, but not in the way you might think. As the wife of former NFL player Jeff Allen, she lived in a world of high stakes and high performance. Yet, while her husband was battling on the gridiron, Mahisha was battling to carve out an identity that didn't rely on his jersey number. She started as a food blogger, gaining traction with her blog, First and Full, where she dissected recipes with the precision of a chemist. But the real explosion happened in 2018. While pregnant and craving a specific texture of cookie that she couldn't find in stores, Mahisha went into the lab, her kitchen, and began experimenting. She wasn't looking for a good cookie, she was engineering a product. After months of trial and error, she cracked the code on a 6-ounce cookie that was crispy on the edges and molten in the center. That product became Cookie Society. Launched effectively from a Frisco kitchen, the brand caught fire on social media. But here is where Mahisha separates herself from the average home baker. She understood scale. When the pandemic hit in 2020 and the world shut down, demand for comfort food skyrocketed. While other businesses shuttered, Cookie Society expanded. She and her husband leveraged their savings, betting on themselves rather than outside investors, to open a brick-and-mortar location in Frisco. The gamble paid off. In a moment that every entrepreneur dreams of, Oprah Winfrey selected Cookie Society as one of her favorite things. The Oprah effect is real, but it only works if you have the infrastructure to handle the tsunami of orders. Mahisha did. She had built a back-end logistics system capable of shipping nationwide without compromising quality. Today, Cookie Society isn't just a bakery. It's a manufacturing operation with multiple locations and a shipping arm that rivals mid-sized logistics firms. Mahisha Dellinger's wealth comes from vertical integration. She controls the brand, the production, and the distribution. In a city of oil barons, she proved that sugar, when managed with CEO-level discipline, can be just as sweet. She represents the new guard of Dallas wealth. Young, digital native, and unafraid to scale. Number 9. Cheryl Polote Williamson, the architect of influence. If Mahisha Dellinger built her fortune on a product, Cheryl Polote Williamson built hers on a promise. The promise that your story can be your greatest asset. In the ecosystem of Dallas wealth, there are those who mine resources, and there are those who mine people. Cheryl Polote Williamson is the latter. She is a multi-best-selling author, an award-winning filmmaker, and the CEO of Williamson Media Group. But those titles don't quite capture the machinery of her wealth. Cheryl is, effectively, an influence architect. Her journey to the top wasn't a straight shot. For years, she operated in the corporate world, gaining the structural discipline that would later define her empire. But her pivot came through personal transformation. After navigating her own trials, she realized that there was a massive, untapped market in transformation economy, helping women, particularly Black women, transition from trauma to triumph, and then monetizing that transition. She founded Soul Reborn, a multimedia movement that serves as both a philanthropic arm and a brand funnel. Through her publishing company, she has helped hundreds of women become best-selling authors. This is the brilliance of her business model. She doesn't just write books, she creates platforms for others. By teaching other entrepreneurs how to package their expertise, she takes a piece of the value created in an entire ecosystem of new wealth. Her financial footprint expanded significantly when she entered the film industry. She served as an executive producer for Illegal Rose and other projects, tapping into the lucrative world of distribution and licensing. But unlike the starving artists of Hollywood, Cheryl approached film from a Dallas perspective. Profit first, art second. She secures funding, manages production budgets with an iron fist, and ensures that the back-end distribution deals favor her investors. Furthermore, Cheryl has mastered the high-ticket coaching/consulting model. Her affluence isn't just about cash flow, it's about access. She hosts high-level masterminds and luxury retreats where entry tickets run into the thousands. These aren't just networking events, they are wealth transfer seminars where she downloads her blueprint to the next generation of leaders. Her net worth, while undisclosed, is fueled by a diversified portfolio of intellectual property, media assets, and consulting retainers. In a city that values who you know, Cheryl Pollote Williamson monetized the Rolodex itself, becoming the gatekeeper for women who want to move from the sidelines to the spotlight. Number 8. D.D. McGuire, the voice of the Metroplex. In the radio industry, longevity is rare. Relevance is rarer. Ownership is the unicorn. D.D. McGuire has achieved all three, cementing herself not just as a personality, but as a media mogul whose voice wakes up millions across the country. Known to her legion of fans as the host of D.D. in the Morning, broadcast on the legendary K104 FM in Dallas, D.D. sits atop a syndicated empire that reaches over 60 markets nationwide. Most people hear the laughter and the celebrity gossip. They don't see the syndication checks. D.D.'s wealth story is one of endurance and leverage. She didn't start as the lead. She paid her dues as a co-host, most notably alongside the late Doug Banks. In the radio hierarchy, the co-host is often seen as replaceable furniture. D.D. refused to be furniture. When the opportunity came to take the lead chair, she didn't just step into it, she renovated the entire room. She built D.D. in the Morning into a brand that transcends the airwaves. It's a content machine. By securing a syndication deal with Compass Media Networks, she moved from being a salaried employee of a local station to being a partner in a national product. Syndication is where the real wealth in radio lies. It creates a revenue stream that multiplies with every new city that picks up the show, without requiring the host to do any extra work. That is the definition of leverage. But D.D.'s business acumen extends beyond the microphone. She established the D.D. McGuire Foundation, which focuses on scholarships for women. While this is a philanthropic endeavor, it also serves to cement her status as a community pillar, increasing her brand value to advertisers who are desperate to reach the demographic she commands. Her lifestyle reflects her success. The private events, the high-fashion wardrobe, the access to the elite circles of Dallas society. But what makes her a true power player is her mentorship. She has created a coaching tree of younger radio talent, ensuring that her influence will outlast her broadcast career. In a media landscape that is rapidly shifting to podcasts and digital streaming, D.D. has maintained the dominance of terrestrial radio, while seamlessly integrating social media to keep her brand young. She is proof that in the age of algorithms, personality is still the most valuable algorithm of all. Number 7. Gail Warrior, the construction titan. Now we leave the world of media and enter the gritty, high-stakes world of concrete and steel. In Dallas, real estate is religion, and Gail Warrior is one of its high priestesses. Gail Warrior is the founder of the Warrior Group, a construction services company that shattered the glass ceiling and then poured a concrete foundation over it. The construction industry in Texas is a good old boys club dominated by generational white male wealth. For a black woman to not just enter this space but to dominate it requires a level of tenacity that borders on terrifying. Her story is one of calculated risk. Gail started her career as an accountant, working in the corporate sector. This is a crucial detail. She didn't come into construction knowing how to pour cement. She came in knowing how to count the money. She understood margins, cash flow, and the devastating cost of overhead. When she launched her business, she didn't try to compete with the giants on massive skyscrapers immediately. She found a niche: permanent modular construction. Modular construction is the business of efficiency, building structures off-site and assembling them on-site. It's faster, cheaper, and scalable. Gail recognized this trend before it was industry standard. She positioned Warrior Group as the go-to firm for government contracts, schools, and healthcare facilities. Her breakthrough came when she secured massive contracts with the U.S. Army at Fort Bliss. We are talking about contracts worth tens of millions of dollars. Government contracting is a labyrinth of red tape and compliance, but Gail's background in accounting made her a master of the paperwork. She could navigate the bureaucracy better than her competitors could pour the foundation. At its peak, Warrior Group was one of the largest woman-owned businesses in the entire country, with revenues soaring past $150 million. Gail became a fixture in the Dallas business community, collecting awards and accolades like trading cards. But true wealth is about diversification. Gail has since evolved, launching Warrior Elements, a health and wellness lifestyle brand. This pivot shows a sophisticated understanding of market trends. After conquering the B2B, business-to-business, world of construction, she moved into the high-margin B2C, business-to-consumer, world of wellness. Gail Warrior lives life on her own terms. She is unapologetic about her success, her fitness, and her fortune. She represents the hard asset wealth of Dallas, wealth built on things you can touch, structures you can walk into, and contracts signed by the United States government. Number 6. Hattie Hill, the global strategist. If you walk into a boardroom in Dallas and the mood shifts, it's likely because Hattie Hill just sat down. She is the woman the CEOs call when they don't know what to do. Hattie Hill is a celebrated author, a professional speaker, and a global business consultant. But those titles are too small for the scope of her influence. She is the president and CEO of Hattie Hill Enterprises, a management consultancy that has advised Fortune 500 companies, nonprofits, and governments on strategy, diversity, and inclusion. Her wealth is intellectual capital. Hattie figured out early on that large corporations have a lot of money but very little perspective. They are often blind to cultural shifts, personnel nuances, and global market trends. Hattie packaged her perspective and sold it to them for a premium. She has worked with giants like IBM, McDonald's, and Southwest Airlines. When you are billing billion-dollar companies, your fees reflect that value. But her most visible role in recent years was as the president and CEO of the T.D. Jakes Foundation. In this capacity, she managed the philanthropic arm of one of the most influential ministries on the planet. This role placed her at the intersection of faith, corporate money, and community impact. She was responsible for brokering partnerships that brought millions of dollars in resources to underserved communities, further solidifying her status as a power broker. Hattie's financial portfolio is bolstered by her board seats. Serving on a corporate board is one of the most lucrative part-time jobs in America, often coming with six-figure retainers and stock options. Hattie has served on the boards of the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas, a position of immense prestige and economic insight, Dallas Regional Chamber, and others. Her lifestyle is that of the global elite, traveling between continents as easily as most people commute to work. She is a connector of worlds. If a business in Dallas wants to expand to South Africa, they call Hattie. If a nonprofit needs a corporate sponsor, they call Hattie. She monetized the gap between sectors, creating a net worth built on the most valuable currency in business: trust. Number 5. Matrice Ellis Kirk, the corporate gatekeeper. There is rich, and then there is board of directors rich. Matrice Ellis Kirk operates in the rarefied air of the latter. She is not a celebrity in the tabloid sense. You won't catch her on reality TV. But in the hushed corridors of the Dallas Country Club or the executive suites of downtown skyscrapers, her name commands instant respect. Matrice Ellis Kirk is the embodiment of corporate power. For decades, she was a senior partner at Heidrick & Struggles, and later RSR Partners, top-tier executive search firms. Executive search sounds polite, but at her level, it is the business of kingmaking. She was the woman responsible for finding CEOs and board members for the world's largest companies. She held the keys to the C-suite. When you control who gets the job, you wield immense power. Matrice used this influence to reshape the corporate landscape of Texas, quietly pushing for diversity in boardrooms long before it was a hashtag. Her personal wealth is compounded by her own board service. She has sat on the boards of major public companies, including Chancellor Media and ACE Cash Express. Currently, she serves on the board of the DFW Airport. This is not just a civic duty. DFW Airport is an economic engine larger than some small countries. Controlling its direction is a massive responsibility. She is also deeply embedded in the cultural fabric of the city as the chair of the AT&T Performing Arts Center. In Dallas, philanthropy is a competitive sport, and the Arts District is the playing field. Leading the board of the Performing Arts Center puts her at the table with the Bass families, the Perrots, and the Hunts. It is the ultimate signal of arrival. Her husband is Ron Kirk, the former mayor of Dallas and U.S. Trade Representative under Barack Obama. Together, they form perhaps the most powerful black political corporate power couple in Texas history. Their Rolodex includes presidents, foreign dignitaries, and billionaires. Matrice's wealth is old-school corporate. It is built on stock options, retainers, and the kind of accumulated capital that comes from 30 years of operating at the absolute peak of American business. She proves that you don't have to start a business to be wealthy. You can simply master the business of others. Number 4. Mahisha Dellinger, the beauty tycoon. From the boardroom, we move to the beauty aisle. Mahisha Dellinger is the founder of Curls, a natural hair care brand that didn't just ride the wave of the natural hair movement, it helped create the ocean. Mahisha's story is the classic rags to riches, American dream, tailored for the black female experience. Born in Sacramento but building her empire in the Dallas suburb of Frisco, Mahisha grew up in a chaotic environment marked by poverty and gang violence. She decided early on that her future would look different. She started her career in corporate America at Intel, gaining valuable marketing skills. But like many black women, she found herself hitting a wall and facing a lack of products for her natural hair. In 2002, with just $86,000 in personal savings and no investors, she launched Curls. At the time, the ethnic hair aisle in stores was a wasteland of toxic chemicals and outdated branding. Mahisha brought an organic, premium aesthetic to the market, but her genius wasn't just in the formula, it was in the distribution. She aggressively pursued retail partnerships. She didn't want to be in just boutique shops. She wanted to be in Target, Walmart, CVS, and Rite Aid. She succeeded. Today, Curls is available in hundreds of thousands of points of distribution worldwide. Mahisha owns 100% of her company, or at least maintained full ownership for the vast majority of its growth, a rarity in an industry where founders often sell equity early for cash. This means when Curls makes millions, Mahisha makes millions. Her wealth allowed her to pivot into media. She hosted Mind Your Business with Mahisha on the Oprah Winfrey Network, OWN, where she mentored other female entrepreneurs. This wasn't just a vanity project. It was a strategic move to position herself as the business expert, further elevating her brand's value. Mahisha lives the life of a modern mogul in Frisco's exclusive gated communities. She is a fierce advocate for black ownership, launching the Black Women Making Millions Academy to help other women replicate her success. Her net worth is estimated in the tens of millions, derived from the sheer volume of products she moves daily. Every time a woman buys a bottle of Blueberry Bliss Control Paste, Mahisha Dellinger gets richer. Number 3. Erykah Badu, the cultural icon and enterprise. There is wealth, and then there is impact. Erykah Badu sits at the intersection of both, a Dallas native who became a global deity of neo-soul and then quietly turned her artistry into a diversified enterprise. Born Erykah Wright in South Dallas, she is the queen of neo-soul. Her debut album, Baduism, went triple platinum and shifted the sound of music in the late 90s. But we are not here to count her Grammys. We are here to count her assets. Musicians often struggle to monetize their fame long-term, but Badu is different. She is a touring beast. For over 2 decades, she has maintained a heavy touring schedule, selling out arenas and festivals worldwide. In the music business, touring is where the real money is. Merchandise, VIP packages, and ticket sales go directly to the artist's bottom line, unlike streaming pennies. But Badu's business mind is often underestimated because of her bohemian persona. She controls her image and her masters to a large degree. She launched Badu World Market, an online lifestyle store that sells everything from hoodies to high-end apothecary goods. When she released her Badu Pussy Premium Incense, it sold out in minutes. It was a masterclass in viral marketing and scarcity economics. She is also a practicing doula, a service she takes seriously, which roots her deeply in the community. While this isn't her primary revenue stream, it adds to the Badu brand of holistic wellness, which she monetizes through partnerships and speaking engagements. Erykah also invests in her city. She is a landlord and property owner in Dallas, holding real estate in the communities she grew up in. She is notoriously private about her finances, but her ability to maintain a high-level lifestyle, support 3 children, and fund her own creative projects without major label interference speaks to a fortress of financial independence. She is the spiritual mother of Dallas culture. Her wealth is liquid, cultural, and real estate-based. She proved that you can be weird, you can be black, you can be from South Dallas, and you can still command the world to pay you your price. Number 2. Cynt Marshall, the executive powerhouse. At number 2, we have the woman who cleaned up the biggest mess in sports and got paid handsomely to do it. Cynt Marshall is the CEO of the Dallas Mavericks, the first black woman to hold that title in the history of the NBA. Her journey to Dallas is a story of corporate resurrection. Cynt spent 36 years at AT&T, rising to become a senior executive. She was already wealthy and retired when Mark Cuban called. The Mavericks were in crisis, facing a massive sexual harassment scandal and a toxic front office culture. Cuban didn't need a basketball mind. He needed a leader. He hired Cynt Marshall. Cynt didn't just take a salary. She took control. She gutted the toxic leadership, installed a culture of diversity and inclusion, and revitalized the business operations of the franchise. Under her watch, ticket sales soared, sponsorships increased, and the Mavericks' valuation ballooned to over $4 billion. While her exact salary is private, NBA CEOs typically command multi-million-dollar annual packages, plus bonuses tied to revenue and team valuation growth. Given the turnaround she orchestrated, Cynt is undoubtedly one of the highest-paid executives in the league. But her wealth isn't just her paycheck. It's her book deals, her speaking fees, which can command $50,000 to $100,000 per appearance, and her consulting firm, Marshalling Resources. She is in high demand across every industry as the expert on turning around a toxic culture. Cynt's life in Dallas is one of high visibility and high impact. She sits courtside, not just as a fan, but as the boss. She has bought homes for family members, funded scholarships, and poured money into cancer research. She is a survivor herself. She represents the pinnacle of employee wealth, proving that if you are valuable enough, you can become richer than most business owners just by being the person in charge. Number 1. Serita Jakes, the Dynastic Matriarch. And finally, we arrive at number 1, the woman who stands at the center of a spiritual and economic empire that transcends Dallas and touches the globe. She is Serita Jakes. To call her just a pastor's wife is an insult to her business acumen. She is the First Lady of the Potter's House, a megachurch with 30,000 members, but she is also a distinct brand and business entity in her own right. The Jakes family empire is estimated to be worth tens, if not hundreds, of millions of dollars. While Bishop T.D. Jakes is the face, Serita is the anchor. Together, they have built a conglomerate that includes TDJ Enterprises, movies, books, music, real estate developments, including a massive master-planned community in Atlanta and holdings in Dallas, and a global media broadcast. Serita's personal wealth drivers are significant. She is a best-selling author of books like The Princess Within, which spawned a franchise of conferences, mentoring programs, and merchandise. Her God's Leading Ladies program is a high-level mentorship track that generates significant revenue while empowering women. She also launched SJ Home, a collection of home decor and candles. Like Mahisha Dellinger and Gail Warrior, she understands that her name is a license to print money. When Serita Jakes endorses a product, millions of faithful followers listen. The Jakes family lives in a massive estate in Fort Worth, Dallas area, a physical testament to their success. They fly private, not for luxury, but for efficiency, managing a schedule that takes them around the world. But why is she number one? Because of dynastic influence. She has raised children, Sarah Jakes Roberts and Cora Jakes Coleman, who are now multi-millionaire moguls in their own right. This is the ultimate test of wealth, the ability to transfer it and the knowledge of how to keep it. Serita Jakes sits at the helm of a legacy that includes media, real estate, publishing, and spiritual leadership. Her capital is financial, social, and spiritual. In Dallas, a city of mega churches and mega money, she is the queen who wears the crown with quiet, unshakable confidence. She is the richest black woman in Dallas because her empire is built on the one thing that never goes out of style: faith, backed by works. Dallas is a city that respects one thing above all else: results. The women on this list didn't ask for permission to be great. They built their own tables, paved their own roads, and signed their own checks. Which of these empires impressed you the most? Are you Team Cookie Society or Team Construction Titan? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, stay ambitious, stay focused, and keep building your own dynasty. We'll see you in the next video.